So if you've been keeping an eye on the markets lately, you've definitely felt that roller coaster feeling, right? That churn of volatility. But what if I told you that a falling market might actually be a massive opportunity in disguise? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the playbook of a market veteran, Sridhar Sivaram, to figure out exactly how to handle these conditions and maybe even build some serious wealth.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll get to the bottom of why the market's under so much pressure. Then, we're going to crack open the expert's playbook to see how you can turn all this chaos into an advantage. After that, we'll zero in on where the smart money is moving, get our heads in the right long-term space, and then wrap it all up with a solid action plan you can use, like today. Okay, first things first, let's just get a real handle on what's going on. You know, it's so easy to feel that pit in your stomach when you see a sea of red in your portfolio, but understanding the forces that are actually at play, that's your first step to making smart, rational decisions instead of emotional ones. The big one. This is the question that's on pretty much every investor's mind. And yeah, it feels completely chaotic, but believe it or not, this turbulence isn't just random. There are some very specific, identifiable reasons behind all this, and we're about to unpack them right now. You know, you can almost look at this as a kind of domino effect. It all kicks off with global tensions, which of course mess with all the supply chains. That in turn makes foreign investors pretty nervous. So what do? They start pulling their money out. And the end result of all that? A giant question mark hanging over corporate earnings, which is really what's pushing stock prices down. It's basically the perfect storm of uncertainty. So, we get the problem, we see what's happening, now let's talk about the solution. This is where we make that critical shift from just reacting to all the noise to actually executing a real strategy. According to Sridhar Sivaram, a down market isn't a crisis, think of it more like a test of your discipline. And wow, this quote just nails his core philosophy. So many of us, we try to guess the bottom or predict the top, which is, let's be honest, pretty much impossible. The real secret, the one that's backed up by decades of data, is just consistency. It's all about staying invested through the ups and the downs, not trying to jump in and out based on fear or greed. So how do you actually do that? How do you put that philosophy into practice? Well, according to Sivaram, it all comes down to these three pillars. Pillar 1, a strict asset allocation. You decide on your mix based on your long-term goals, not on today's news. Pillar 2, unwavering patience. This is your emotional armor. It stops you from selling at the absolute worst time. And Pillar 3, disciplined systematic investment plans, or SIPs. These are the engine that turns market dips into your advantage because you're buying systematically, no matter what the headlines are screaming. Now that we've got the playbook, let's actually put it to work. You see, even when the big picture market is down, there's some really fascinating things happening just under the surface. A smart investor learns to look past the headlines to see where the real value is starting to pop up. Let's dig into a couple of key sectors that Sivaram is pointing to. Okay, the banking sector is a perfect example of this. We're seeing this massive power shift happening right now. On one side, you have the private banks. They're agile, they're using tech, they're aggressively going after growth. Then on the other side, you have the public sector, or PSU banks. Now, they've got the stability of government backing, which is great, but they often struggle to keep up with the times. Sivaram's insight here is that this isn't just about performance. It's a deep fundamental split in strategy that creates a huge long-term opportunity for investors who can see which model is really built for the future. Another really interesting area is defense. It's so easy to just think of this sector as, building more ships, more tanks. But the real aha moment from Sivaram's playbook is this. The long-term value isn't going to come from just manufacturing volume. Nope, it's going to come from owning the intellectual property. The advanced tech, the R&D, the stuff that will define the next generation of defense. That's the real competitive advantage. And this brings us to what might just be the most powerful tool you have in your entire investor toolkit, your mindset. I mean, your strategy is only as good as your ability to actually stick with it, right? And that all comes down to psychology. At the very heart of this long-term mindset is the absolute magic of compounding. Seriously, think of it like a tiny snowball at the top of a very long hill. As it starts rolling, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and faster and bigger. That's your money. Your money makes money, and then that new money starts making even more money. It is the ultimate reward for just being patient. So how do you get that snowball rolling on autopilot? You guessed it, through disciplined SIPs. And here's why they are so incredibly powerful in a falling market. Every single month, your fixed amount of money buys more units of a fund when the prices are low. This is called rupee cost averaging, and it sets you up perfectly to take advantage of the eventual recovery. It's like supercharging the whole compounding effect over the long haul. Okay, we've talked about the why, the what, and the how.
Let's pull all of this great advice together into a simple, straightforward action plan that you can use to navigate what's happening right now with a bit more confidence.
Here it is, your checklist. First, and most importantly, just breathe. Do not panic sell. Second, take a good look at your asset allocation. Is it still the right fit for your goals? Third, keep those SIPs going. This is when they're working the hardest for you. Fourth, when you do your research, focus on high-quality companies that are built to last, not just the flavor of the month. And finally, always remember, this is normal. Market corrections are simply the price you pay for the ticket to achieve those amazing long-term returns.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. While almost everyone else is seeing risk and fear in today's headlines, a disciplined investor, well, they see discounted prices and a golden chance to build future wealth. The only real question is, how are you going to choose to see it?